Rundown with my friends at Fishman. My name is Angela Petrilli. So happy all of you are here today. We're going to be learning a really fun one of my favorites. I know I say that every week, but it's true. We're going to be learning Wake Me Up When September Ends by Green Day from the American Idiot album. Super awesome song. Have your acoustic in standard tuning today. It's going to be a blast. Okay? We're going to be going through the entire song, even the guitar solo. So those of you, if you're a little more comfortable and if you have an electric guitar and want to grab it for the guitar solo, totally cool. But you can play it on the acoustic if you want. So I'm going to be going through all the parts, all the notes, chords, all of that good stuff. As always, excuse me, before we get started, let me know where you are tuning in from and your favorite concept album. So where you're tuning in from, favorite concept album, have this acoustic guitar in standard tuning. We're going to be playing this one today. So here we go. Wake Me Up When September Ends by Green Day. So that's what we're going to be going over today. This one's a lot of fun. As I mentioned at the top, we're going to be going over both parts, both the electric guitar solo as well as all the acoustic stuff is happening. So I'm going to be teaching this on the acoustic today. Yeah, this is going to be a ton of fun as always. And also too, if you guys are enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps the cause, folks. It helps the cause. Much appreciated. So thanks, you guys. Before we get started, let's go ahead and see what some of your favorite concept albums are and where you guys are tuning in from. I know my favorite concept album is Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. That's my favorite, but American Idiot's a pretty great one too. There's a lot of good ones. So, as I mentioned at the top, let me know where you're located and your favorite concept album. All right, we got someone saying Genesis, love it. Pink Floyd, The Wall, another good one. Yes. And yes, great. Relayer, love it. Oh, this is great, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We got people from all over the world. Oh, this is wonderful. We got Atlanta, we got Italy, we have Ohio, England, Kansas City, British Columbia, beautiful British Columbia. Love that. And New Jersey. Thank you all. Thank you all for tuning in. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. This is the main riff, which I just absolutely love. It's going to be seen throughout this entire song. So we're gonna break it down. It's nice and easy. This lesson definitely geared towards my beginners and intermediates. So my advanced folks who are watching, you could always learn something new, but for my advanced folks, let's go ahead and give some words of encouragement to the beginners and the intermediates who are tuning in today. I'd really appreciate all that positivity. I think it'd be great. So thank you. So let's go ahead and do this. So here's the top. I'm gonna go ahead and play this again. just stick there. Okay, we'll get to those bar chords in a second, but let's look at that first. So this part, it's going to repeat 4 times, okay? Here's how we do it. So you're going to get your first finger here, you're going to place it on D, that is the 3rd fret of the B string. Your 3rd finger, reach up 5th fret of that D string. That note is G. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pluck that D string, the open G string. Wait a second, sounds like the same note, right? It's because it is. We're playing 2 G notes right there. And with this first finger here, that is a D note. Pretty cool, right? So we would call this a G5. Why is that? Because you don't have that 3rd of B in here. We don't have that B note. So we're calling it a G5 because we got a series of 2 G notes and then D. Okay? So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to give you 2 different options on how to pluck this. Those of you who watched at the top, I like to do this with hybrid picking. I'm a hybrid picking kind of player. Anytime I can use it, I do. So that's how I like to play it. I pluck downwards on the D string, G string, plucking upwards with my middle finger on that B string. That's how I like to do it. So I'll go ahead and do that again nice and slowly. That feels comfortable for me, okay? But if hybrid picking, if you're still trying to get the hang of it, I encourage you to try that. Or if you want to use the pick for everything, you could totally do that too. So how we would do that here, instead of plucking upwards with that middle finger on that B string, pluck upwards with the pick on that B string, okay? So it would sound something like this. Or here's the hybrid picking version. Notice how it's a little more delicate. This is where we can really see that difference between a pick or plectrum, wherever you are from, right? That's where we can hear the difference between the sound of flesh versus the sound of the pick. So I'm going to leave that up to you. So think about that when we're going through this tune here. So I'm going to use the pick. So that's what's happening there. Cool. So now the next bit here, what we're going to do is we're going to play this F sharp, okay? So how we're going to do that, we're going to get the 2nd finger here, we're going to place that on the 4th fret of the D string, F sharp, okay? So it's going to be F sharp, G, and D. Keep that first finger where it is, okay? So here's that move. Hear it? We're descending the bass line here, all right? So that's what's happening there, those 2 bits. So now what we're going to do next, okay, we're going to place this first finger. Place that on E, 2nd fret of that D string, all right? So I'm sure you guys have noticed in these lessons I like to give you the notes, not only where to place your fingers on the fret, but the notes too. I think it helps you and makes the fretboard a little less scary for everybody, okay? So put that first finger on that E note, 2nd fret of the D string. Open G string again. Now this time, 3rd finger is going to play that D note on the 3rd fret of the B string, okay? So just like that. Okay? Let's go through this. I'm going to go a little slower here, and let's go through those 3 parts, okay? So here we go. Okay? So, the next part, super easy. All we're going to do, lift up that first finger. That's it. So play the open D string. Just like that, okay? We're going to go through these 4 parts, okay? Nice and slow. We'll build up the speed. Here we go. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. Let's go ahead and bump up the speed here. Intro with that G5 4 times. Last time. Top of the verse. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. I'm getting questions. Is this in standard tuning? Yes, standard tuning on this guitar, Sean. Standard tuned acoustic guitar. It's going to do you just fine here today. So that's what's happening there. Now, what happens next after we do this open D string to G string to that D note, all right, we're going to do here is we're going to go to this C chord. Okay, this is how I like to play it. I know I see a lot of other folks online do it like this. I'm not a huge fan of that. I like this because I like to have my second finger and fourth finger free to do other cool chords or other cool voicings and stuff. That's the reason behind that. I know I get a lot of questions about that from you guys. So that's why I like to grip these chords this way. I think it's the easiest way to get around. So let's talk about this. So the next chord has to be bar chord, okay? Because we're going to go from the 4 chord, which is this C, to a C minor, which is the minor 4, which is such a cool chord movement. I just absolutely love it. So here's how we play this, the C chord here, bar chord. My beginners, don't freak out. You can do this, okay? In the words of Rob Schneider on Waterboy, you can do it. Okay, so first finger, place that across the bottom 5 strings. Corny jokes included, folks, we're live. So we're gonna do this. Put that first finger across the bottom 5 strings. A, D, G, B, and E, okay? Just like that. Big E string isn't invited to this. You're gonna get your third finger. We're gonna play 3 strings at the same time, okay? D string, G string, B string, 5th fret. Press through. This is a tough bar chord. I'm not gonna pretend that this is an easy chord. For my beginners, my intermediates, it's a tough chord to sound really, really clear. So work on it, you can do it. Okay, so that's how it should sound. We have C, we have G, we have another C, and we have E. So our 1, 3, 5, C, E, G, we got them all in this chord. Done. So there's that C major. Okay? Now, we're going to do this. We're going to pluck the A string. We're going to pluck the D string. And you're going to pluck upwards on the B string and G string together. Now, could you also hybrid pick this? Yes, that's what I would do. Okay? So here's it with the pick. Okay, or hybrid picked. Okay, so that's what's happening there. Now, let's go ahead and look at that C minor chord. The C minor chord looks like this and sounds like this. Okay, very sad chord. Minor chords always sound a little sad. So we're gonna do here, that second finger, place that on the 4th fret of the B string, E flat. That's a flat 3rd. That's what makes this minor, is that one note, okay? So your 3rd finger, placing that on the 5th fret of that D string, that note is G, that 4th finger is going to be on C, 5th fret of the G string. Okay? We're not gonna worry so much about the high E string right now in this chord. We're gonna strike the C on that A string, strike G on the D string, pluck upwards on the B string and G string. Just like that, that E flat and C, okay? So that's gonna sound like this. The whole thing from C major to C minor. C minor. Okay, that's what's going on there. So let's do that a couple more times here, and then we're gonna go ahead and add it on to the rest of that verse intro. All right. Loving that everybody is having a good time with this. Thank you all. God, gosh, people from all over the world. This is great. Okay. C major to C minor. Here it is, hybrid picked. Using the pick. So, what happens after this? We're gonna play this, but not quite like that. We're gonna play it as a G major chord that we're a little more familiar with, okay? So it's gonna be this one here, placing your 2nd finger on that 3rd fret of the E string, that's your G, okay? You're gonna play the open G string, and your 3rd finger placed on the 3rd fret of the B string, D note, okay? Let's see. And as you can tell, Muted A string, that's what we want, okay? Let's do that again. All right, so I'm gonna take this nice and slowly here. Let's go from the C major to C minor to that G, doing that same riff, but just in a little bit of a different way, okay? So here we go. So just like that, all right? So now we're gonna do here, we're gonna go through the whole thing so far, that intro verse, and then after this, we will go ahead and go to the chorus. Some friendly chords, a couple bar chords, but you know, bar chords are good for us, okay? So here we go. I'm gonna take this a little slower. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. So we got this. All right, so that's what's happening there, okay? We're gonna do, you'll see how this song grows, and those of you who are familiar with this song, you'll see how it works out. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. So, all right, so let's go ahead and look at the chorus now. So the chorus sounds like this. All friendly chords here. We have the B minor as the bar chord, but don't worry, I'll talk you through it. So we've got E minor. Here are the chords. E minor, B minor, to C, to G. And we're gonna do like I'm gonna call this a D over F sharp, to E minor, back to B minor, to C, to D. Okay, so let's go through that here. We're going to do this chord by chord. So when you're playing this, be very relaxed. Okay, again, letting the pick do the work for you here. Really, really light touch with this right hand is going to help a lot. Trying not to dig too much into those strings. So let's go ahead and look at that. So we've got E minor here. What we're going to do, play the chord. Okay, so that first or that second finger on the second fret of that A string, that note is B. Your third finger, second fret of the D string, that note is E. Okay, so if we strum it, it should sound like this. Okay, now what we want to do here, you're going to pluck the open E string, the low E. Okay, now we're going to pluck G string by itself, plucking upwards now on the B string and the G string together. I find this movement, again, a little bit easier with the hybrid picking technique, but that is something that's comfortable for me. So in hybrid picking, it would look like this. Let's see, right here. There we go. I'm using the pick on the E string. I'm using the pick on the G string. Plucking upwards with that middle finger, a nice light feather touch B string and G string together. Just like that. Now, if that's a little outside of where you're at, no big deal. You can pluck upwards with the pick, okay, on that, starting on that B string and hitting the G string as well. So you could do that too, all right? So that's what's happening on the E minor. Now we're gonna go to a B minor here. So what we wanna do, I know some of us play our E minor like this. I encourage you to play it this way with the second and third finger, because check it out. This first finger is free and just is like, please give me a job to do. So cool, a bar chord is coming, right? So we place that first finger down on that second fret of the A, D, G, B, and E string like this. Notice that move there to there, okay? So sometimes it can be slightly disorienting to do this, but if that's what you're comfortable with, that's cool. This is how I like to do it. Okay, now this picking pattern is gonna be very similar, hitting that root. So let's talk about those notes in this chord B minor here, right? We've got our bar at the second fret. Place your third finger on, or your second finger on the third fret, the B string, that note is D. Your third finger is going to go onto the F sharp fourth fret D string, and your fourth finger is going to go on the fourth fret of that G string, that note is B. Okay, so it should look and sound like that. Okay, so just like that. Now what we're gonna do here, you're gonna pluck that B note. You're gonna pluck this F sharp, where your third finger is, that D string. And you're gonna upward pluck again, right, with that pick on the B string and G string together. So it'll sound like this. I'm gonna do this slowly here. Now, if it were me, you guys know that I would hybrid pick. It would sound like this. Okay, same upward motion, but we're just using our finger instead of the pick, okay? All right, so that's what's happening there. Let's go ahead and do that again. E minor to this B minor. Let's do it nice and slow, and I'll build up the speed. Again. With the pick. So again, up to you, whichever one you think sounds better, feels more natural to you as a player. So after that B minor, we're gonna go to a C major. This time we're gonna play it as an open chord. Yes, okay? So C, E, G, those are our target notes. Let's see if we got them here. First finger, first fret of the B string is C. Your second finger, second fret of the D string, that's E. And your third finger reaching up to the third fret of that A string, that is C. But where is the G note? Where is the fifth? It's the open G string, okay? So we got everything there that we need to make that C major chord. So let's go ahead and play it here. Pluck the A string, that C note. Pluck the D string, your E note. Plucking upwards with the pick, or doing your hybrid technique on the B string and G string together. Just like that. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. All right. So let's go ahead and do that again. E minor, B minor, C. Now, something to keep in mind too, when I was watching Billy Joe play this, I watched a bunch of different versions. Sometimes he includes that high E, so I'll leave that up to you. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. So leave it up to you guys. All right, so that's what's happening there. Now we're gonna do this bit of a really cool little walk down, okay? So we're gonna play this G chord in this orientation, second finger, third fret of that E string, G, your third finger, third fret of the B string, D note. You're gonna pluck the E string, you're gonna pluck the D string, pluck the B string, pluck the open G string. It'll sound like this. Here it is without the commentary. Now with a little speed for some context. Okay, so that's what's happening there. E string, G string, B string, G string. E string, D string, B string, G string. Just like that. Okay, so after we do that, you're gonna place your first finger, okay? And again, I'll give you guys two different options for this. Placing your first finger on that second fret of the E string. That's our F sharp. Again, we're doing a transitional chord here to go back to that E minor, okay? So you're gonna get your first finger, placing that on the 2nd fret, that's the F sharp, okay? Open G string. Keeping that 3rd finger where it is, D note. And lifting it up to play the B note, that open B string. So it's gonna sound like this. Again. It's not supposed to be the prettiest chord. Again, it's transitional. We're moving along with the melody here, okay? So that's what's happening there. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's play through that whole thing. E minor, B minor, C, G, and then that F sharp transitional happening, okay? So let's go ahead and do that nice and slowly here, and then I'll build up the speed. So here we go. Now, you could do that with your first finger, or if you want to use your thumb to do that F sharp, you can do that too, all right? So let's go ahead and do that again. Let's do it now with that F sharp with the first finger. There's that. Good stuff, right? How's everybody doing? Let me know how everyone's coming along. This is super fun. Thank you all for such the nice comments and for tuning in. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. All right, so that's what's happening there. Now we go back to that E minor, same old thing that we did at the top. Back to the B minor, same old thing we did at the top. C, same thing. If you wanted to include the high E string here on this particular one, it would sound really nice. It would sound like this. So how we would go ahead and grab that high E string, like I did. See how I did the hybrid picking? Instead of leaving that 2nd finger, that middle finger, to pluck upwards, I'm just moving it down to the E string and plucking upwards. A nice light brush. We don't want to be too aggressive with this, because if we're too aggressive, it's going to sound a little harsh. So lightly brush it. Think like you're playing a harp. Like that's the kind of, just nice and light, okay? Like that. Now, after this is going to be the last chord in this chorus. It's going to be a D major chord. So D, F sharp, and A. Those are our target points, our 1, 3, 5. So you're going to get this D chord here for my beginners. I'll go ahead and tell you how to play it real quickly here. First finger is going to be on the 2nd fret of the G string. That's A. 2nd finger, 2nd fret of that E string. That's F sharp. And then your 3rd finger is going to go on the D note, 3rd fret of the B string. Should sound like that. All right. So we're going to do here, open D string, pluck that G string, that A note right here, and then plucking upwards either with the pick or the hybrid picking technique on the E string and B string together. Like that, okay? Not too bad, not too bad. All right, so let's go through this whole chorus here. I'm gonna go through nice and slow. Again, the chords are E minor, B minor, C, G, to that let's call it the G over F sharp, D over F sharp, and then E minor, B minor, C to D, okay? So here we go, chorus. I'll go a little slow here. Let's do that one more time, a little faster. let's go ahead and do this. Let's play through the whole thing so far, and I'll take some time for questions, and then we'll go into the part where it really starts to build up, okay? And again, if you guys are enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. The likes and comments always help the illustrious algorithm, okay? So I really appreciate it if you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, too, I get a bunch of questions on the gear that I use. I have a link in the video description so you guys can check out like the RS Spectrum and the pickups I'm using, the Matrix Infinity and all that good stuff that Fishman is up to. So if you want to see the cool stuff Fishman is up to and the gear I use, just click that link in the video description. Good stuff. Okay, so let's go to the top, folks. Very top. Not too bad, right? So that's what's happening there. That's what's happening there. So if you guys have questions, again, this is a live Q&A. Happy to take a few questions, and then we'll go ahead and get on to the next bit of the tune, which is super fun as I move my charts along here. All right. So this next part of the tune is where the distortion really kicks in. We have those drums. Super cool. I just love how they did that. It's great. Really cool production on this song. So that's the part we're going to get into now. Now, when you watch them play this live, they will always have an acoustic player. I know Billy Joe likes to play, I think he's got like a Les Paul Jr. On this tune, but there's always an acoustic player who's playing on this. So yeah, it's really good stuff. Really good stuff. Loving how folks are from all over the world here. This is great. We've got Sweden, Greece, Memphis. Thank you all so much for being here. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. Glad you guys are having a great time. And again, those of you who want to check out the gear that I use on these lessons, you can click the link in the video description to see all the cool stuff that that Fishman is up to. It's good stuff. All right. Yes. All right. People are digging the hybrid technique. One of my favorite techniques to use when I play. Great. Glad you guys are liking it too. Have I ever played a telly? Yes. If you go back, I've actually done a couple lessons with my telly. You can check that out on my YouTube page. Yes, I have two, and I love them very much. Love a good Telecaster. I gigged a ton with it this week too, at my gigs here in LA. So yeah, it's good stuff. Great guitars. Great guitars. All right. So let's go ahead and do this now. So what we're gonna do here. This is the part, again, as I mentioned, where the distortion kicks in. So this riff isn't clean at this point. It's going to have a bit of dirt on it. Now this next verse that comes after this chorus, again, it's the same riff. Just with a little dirt. Now, what changes here, instead of us picking out those notes on C major and C minor, what they do is this. They do this. So we're starting to get those power chords in there, right? So it's starting to build, right? The intensity of the song is coming up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play this C chord, and we're going to, again, downward strokes only. Now, if you wanted it to ring a little bigger, just strum it downwards, and it's going to be 8 downstrokes for each of these chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then C minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can choose to do it bigger and not palm mute it, because if you wanted to palm mute, it's not going to sound as big. If you wanted it to sound bigger, don't palm mute. Or, if you want to palm mute, okay, you're going to use this part of your hand, okay? Heel of the hand, right there. So, see this? The saddle. You're going to put your hand, that part of your hand, perpendicular to that. Use this as your guide, right there. Now notice, it has a little bit more of a deadened sound. I'm going to leave that up to you guys, whichever one you like better, okay? So, here's how this part sounds. We have the intro riff, right? It's that next verse. So on and so forth. Then, instead of arpeggiating and playing those notes in the C major and C minor, 8 downward strokes each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go to the G5 power chord here. So, G5, what's happening? We don't have that B note, so we have the 1 and the 5, G and D. So, first finger is going to be on G, 3rd fret of that E string. 3rd finger reaches over 5th fret of the A string, that's your D, so that's the 5. And then your 4th finger, okay, is going to be on G, 5th fret of that D string, okay? And we're only going to play those strings, the D, A, and G, and D string, or E, A, D string. Those are the only ones you're going to play. So why this is, because that's where the G5 lives. It's those 3 notes, or 2 technically. The second we include something else, that's a G minor. That we do not want. We just want the 1, 1, 5. That's it. Okay, so that's all we're going to do there. So it's going to take a little bit of practice with that right hand. Don't overextend. E string, A string, D string. That's it, okay? So here we go again. We'll do the last bit of the riff. Downward strokes. To our G5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that one gets 4 bars of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good stuff. Okay, so then after that, the intro, that verse riff. Back again to that C and C minor downward strokes. To that G5. So that happens twice, okay? So then what happens here is this part, okay? So I'm gonna play it. Talk it out. Okay, so here's what's happening here. We've got this. Wacky transitional chord. It's back, but it's as a power chord that sounds really cool and dark and mysterious. So we're going from the G5 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, move your first finger back. I know for some of you this is going to be a stretch, but a good way to really get your fingers to do stretches like this. That spider exercise really, really helps with this, okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, downward strokes. Moving that first finger over, keeping the 3rd and 4th finger where they are. I know this is gonna feel like a stretch, but you can do it, I believe in you, okay? So first finger, bring that back to the F sharp, 2nd fret of the E string. 1, 2, 3, okay? Again, it's transitional. It's not supposed to sound pretty. We're moving along with the melody, okay? So, Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's go ahead and do that here. Downward strokes, C, C minor, G, and the G5, and then with the F sharp in the bass, okay? So yes, spider exercise is the best. I have a lot of people ask me, what is your favorite warm-up exercise? It's that one, hands down. Hands down my favorite, okay? So here we go here from the C, C minor, G5, F sharp. You can do it. Let's do it again. Take your time and practice. Something else that I think could help, obviously the spider exercise will help you immensely with stretches like this. Also too, that thumb, middle of the neck. Keep it there. By keeping that thumb in the middle of the neck, it's gonna help those fingers really, really extend over that fretboard. That's something that you want, okay? So thumb, notice how you can't see my thumb here. The second I were to move my thumb up, watch how it's really, really difficult to do this. So thumb up here, I can even reach. Okay, see how that thumb gets in the way. The second you put that in the middle of the neck, it allows the stretch to be a lot easier. So yeah, that's what I don't want you to do. I don't want that thumb up there. Keep the thumb in the middle of the neck. It will help you a lot. All right, so that's what's happening there. So next we're gonna play an E5. And you may be thinking, Angela, that looks like an E minor. Yes, it does look like an E minor. However, right, good right hand technique here. We want to be very careful. For this E5, we're only playing the 1 and 5 of this chord, okay? So we're not playing that additional G sharp or G that we would see in an E major or an E minor respectively. Now, only pluck the E string, A string, D string. That's it. Because the second you hit that G string, it's an E minor, and that's not what we want. So only those 3 strings. Hear how heavy it sounds? Listen to the E minor in comparison. We don't want that E minor. We want the heavy E5. You can do it, okay? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm kind of palm muting a little bit too, just to make it sound even darker. So that's, I will leave that up to you. I like how that sounds. Okay, just like that. All right, so now we're gonna go to the B5. All right, so it looks like a B minor, except we're not gonna have that second finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. That D note, we're not gonna have it. Why? Because that D is the flat 3rd. That's what makes that chord minor. We want it to be a 5 chord, so we take the 3 or the flat 3 away. So first finger, placing that on the 2nd fret of the A string. Okay, that's your B, that's your root. All right, your 3rd finger goes on the 4th fret of the D string. That's going to be your F sharp, and your 4th finger is going to play D or B on the 4th fret of the G string. So it should sound like this. And that's it. Now with this one, we don't want to hit the low E. It's going to be a slash chord that we don't want. So only focus strumming on A, D, and G. Just like that. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, that's what we want there. All right, nice and clean. Nice and clean. We want good, clean chords pressing through, thumb in the middle of the neck. And also too, if you'll notice with my 2nd finger here, sometimes I do this to mute that E string. If I get a little too amplified when I'm playing, I have that as a little bit of insurance. So that's something I do sometimes. All right, so after that B5 comes a C5. B and C are right next to each other. They're half step apart. So we just move this up. First finger should be on the 3rd fret C, 2nd finger, or 3rd finger should be on the 5th fret. That note is G, and then 4th finger is playing C, 5th fret of the G string. Whew, say that 10 times fast. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna strum those 8 times as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's go through those 3 chords again. E5, B5, C5. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, think heavy, downward strokes only, all right? So after this, the next chords are gonna be that G5, 4 times only, 1, 2, 3, 4, transitional chord, F sharp in the bass, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So let's do that whole bit again. Here's that. Not too bad. I think the palm muting really helps with this. Someone is asking, can you show us how to play with your teeth, Angela? My parents paid a lot of money for braces, and I would love nothing more than to never have to wear braces again. So, in another life, Frank, but in this one, I can't teach. I will teach you guys how to play a lot of songs. I'm not teaching how to play with your teeth. That, yeah, braces were a tough time. I think we can all agree. Those of us who had braces never want to wear them again. All right, so that's what's happening there. It's a live show. Got to answer some of these questions. That was great. Okay, so then we go through this again, that E5, B5, C5 to D5. So what's happening here? First finger, 5th fret of the A string. That's your D root right there. And then your 3rd finger is going to be playing a 7th fret of that D string. So D and A, with your 4th finger playing D as well on the 7th fret of the G string. Okay, so the whole thing sounds like this. So we've got cool stuff. Again, see how it's building. Listen to the song too. Listen to how the song builds and all of that good stuff. It's a really beautiful, I think it's one of their best songs. I love this song. It's such a great album too. Such a great album. Okay, so that's what's happening as far as the chords. Listen back, again, as I mentioned a moment ago, listen back to the song and see where they go, all of these parts, again, because the chords are pretty simple with this. It's this building that makes this song so, so great. So let's go ahead and have a look at the guitar solo. Now, you can play this on acoustic. Sometimes with the songs that I teach here on the riff rundown, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to teach a solo on acoustic. However, this one is pretty simple, okay? Those of you right now, if you have an electric and you want to grab it to learn this solo, I'm going to give you a moment to go ahead and do that now if you want to grab your electric. You can play this on acoustic though. So I am teaching this. It is the same if you wanted to play this on acoustic or if you wanted to play on electric. I'm not changing anything. So this solo part will work on electric and acoustic, okay? So if those of you who want to grab your electric guitar, go ahead and grab it. But if you got an acoustic only today, totally cool. So let's go ahead and have a look at this. I'm going to play this through a little bit slowly. And again, the highest we're going to go is going to be the 15th fret, but don't worry, because those of us with a full-size acoustic, right, the body and hits at the 14th fret, so the 15th fret, see where this dot is? That's the highest we're going to go up. So you definitely can reach it. We got some people saying I got to ice my wrist. Spider exercise. Let's build up those muscles and those fingers and that stretch. So hope your hand feels better, Raymond. Hope your hand feels better. All right, so here we go. Here's part 1 of the solo. And again, I'm going to do this a little bit slowly. not too bad, right? Probably that last stretch is maybe a little scary for some of you. Don't worry. It's good for the pinky to get those stretches. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to break this up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. Okay. And lucky for us, a lot of this stuff is repeated, which is great. Okay. So here's part 1. We're going to do a nice slide. Get that first finger sliding it from the 10th fret of that G string. So we're going from F, that note is F, the 10th fret of the G string. We're going to slide it up to G, 12th fret. And then we're going to hit it again. Okay, so that's the first bit. Sliding from that F to G, placing your second finger on the B note, 12th fret of the B string, right? So it'll sound like this. F to G. Just like that. So G and B, we're going back and forth between those two notes. I'll do that again. One more time. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to move this first finger. It's on G at the moment. We're going to move it to F sharp, 11th fret of that G string. We're going to hit it twice. Still playing the B on the 12th fret of that B string, okay? So here's the whole thing. That's it. Let's do part 1 and part 2 slowly. Part 2. Let's do that one more time. Now what we're going to do here, okay? This shape, we're going to use the same shape, but we're going to move everything up a half step. So your first finger should be on G, 12th fret of that G string. Your second finger should be on C, 13th fret of the B string. So it'll sound like this. That's what we want, okay? And the pattern here, we're going to hit that G note twice, C once. And then we hit them one time. I'll do that again. Just like that. So now let's combine. 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Not too bad. And see, not too bad on an acoustic either. So again, you can play this on both electric and acoustic on the album. It's on an electric guitar, I know, but like I think it's super cool to learn this. And it's not too bad. It's not too bad to learn. It's super cool and melodic. So why not teach it to you guys? So let's go ahead and look at part 4. So keeping that first finger, okay, on the 12th fret of the G string, so that's our G note, we're going to reach with our pinky. I know for some of us this may be a little bit of a stretch, but as I mentioned, spider exercise. It helps, it helps. So we've got G here. Our pinky finger is on the 15th fret of the B string. Okay? See that stretch, first finger and fourth finger. That note is playing D. Okay? Notice how this plucking pattern is the same. That 2 hits, 1 hit, 2 hits, 1 hit, 1 hit, 1 hit, okay? So it's going to sound like this. And again, notice how my thumb, you cannot see it, middle of the neck. It's allowing that hand to really stretch through, okay? On that fretboard and really reach the notes that we need to, okay? So here we go again. just like that. So now let's do this. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Here we go. That's it. And guess what? When we go to the next bit, part 1, part 2, and part 3 are repeated. So it's going to sound something like this. Or if not something, it's going to sound exactly like this. Here we go. From the beginning of the solo. So that's what's happening there. Now, the next part, the new part of this solo, all we're going to do is this. We're still going to go back to playing G and D on the 12th fret of the G string and the 15th fret of the B string respectively. You're going to strike downwards. It's going to happen 8 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is without the commentary. Nice harmonies there, okay? So let's do that again. And again, using that pinky thumb in the middle of the neck to allow the stretch. Just like that, okay? So let's start from the top. Let's see, part 1, part 2, part 3, and then we'll do this strike. Okay, so here we go. Right? Not too bad. So that's what's happening there. Now, that's the next part. We're going to extend that stretch just a little bit. Here's how we extend that stretch. We're going to do this. First finger to the 11th fret of the G string, which is the F sharp. So this is mimicking a D sus2 to a D major. I know someone says I like to use my 3rd finger when I do this. I encourage you to use the pinky instead. It's going to feel a little bit better and a little more balanced in your hand. And we're going to strike that 8 times as well, right? 2 bars of 4. Just like that. Now at the end of the solo, strike the open G string. Just like that, okay? I'm gonna play through the whole thing nice and slowly, and folks, we got through the whole song today. This was such a blast. So again, thanks for hanging out with me, all of you, on this brand new episode of the Riff Rundown. This has been such a blast. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this last bit of the guitar solo, and we are done for the day. So here we go, from the very top. Solo. Not too bad, right? When I was listening to this song, I'm like, I could totally teach that on an acoustic guitar. So it may be slightly easier on an electric, but again, it's always good to practice certain things on an acoustic and then graduate to electric too, if you would like. But yeah, that's the whole tune, folks. So listen back. It's such a great song, a really fun one to play. There's something in it for everybody, I think, and it's just a really, really fun song. So again, this was such a blast. As always, I am going to be pre-recorded for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be doing some stuff. So it is so just to give you guys a heads up, I will be out. The next 2 will not be live, but don't worry, they'll still be fun and interactive. So that'll be the next 2 Saturdays live on YouTube, Riff Rundown with yours truly, Angela Petrilli. So yeah, that is Wake Me Up When September Ends by Green Day, a super fun song. Again, as always, want to thank the folks at Fishman for helping me run these week after week. Say that 10 times fast. Really, really good folks, and it's super fun to hang out with you guys too every Saturday and play some guitar and teach you guys how to play some of my favorite songs. So yeah, it's good times. As always, wishing you all much success in your musical journey. Tag me and Fishman in your videos. We'd love to know how all of you are coming along on these songs. Also too, want to mention those of you in LA, I will be opening for Billy Bob Thornton and the Boxmasters in Los Angeles, April 22nd, 2022 at the Mint. Super, super fun venue out here in Los Angeles. I will be doing that with my band. I'm going to be playing some original tunes and one of my favorite covers to play live. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So tickets, you can get those on my website, AngelaPetrilliMusic.com. All the info is there. You can check me out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all of those good things. Again, wishing you all much success in your musical journey. Have a great time learning this one. It sure is a fun one to play. And happy playing. I'll see you guys soon. Take good care.